Hey, wait a second. Something doesn't seem right here. There we go. So, Trump has finally announced his vice president pick, and, well, it's a strange one.
Are you a racist? Do you hate Mexicans?
JD Vance first got his rise to fame in the 2022 Ohio Senate election. With the help of Trump's endorsement, he successfully defeated Josh Mandel and Matt Dolan in the primary, and later on to defeat U.S. Representative and former presidential candidate Tim Ryan in the general election to become a United States Senator. Vance was reportedly on Trump's shortlist for a VP pick, along with Florida Senator Marco Rubio and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. But Vance managed to soar above the rest and get the spot. So it's worth asking, why did Trump pick him over everyone else? Well, when picking a vice president, you need to think about both the short term and the long term. Let's take Barack Obama's 2008 pick of Joe Biden in the primary. Obama needed someone that could balance out the ticket from both a racial and an experience lens to help him win the election. Biden, having served in the Senate since 1972, had both of those things. And in the long term, Biden proved to be a decent electoral performer, seen through his victory in the 2020 presidential election. Trump needed a pick that could help him win the 2024 election, and also someone that had a similar ideology with the chance of winning future elections. And he found them. No, not him. Her. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem seemed like a great pick for Trump. A fairly young, populistic woman would be perfect for the Trump campaign. She'd have the ability to appeal to more suburban women that have notoriously been a difficult and essential group for Trump, all while being able to tout midwestern roots in essential swing states like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, and being set up to take over the reins of the Republican Party after Trump was gone. Last February, a straw poll at CPAC had her tied with Vivek Ramaswamy for the preferred vice presidential pick for Trump. Keep in mind, Ramaswamy ran for president. He had a national campaign that exposed him to people. Kristi Noem didn't, and she still managed to be tied for first. So, what happened? Well,
I don't think there's anybody on any side of the aisle, any human being that thinks it's acceptable to go to a gravel pit and shoot a dog in the face and kill it when it's 14 months old. That's just hideous.
Listen, I'm not here to lecture about the ethics of puppy killing, especially if you live in a rural setting, but it's objectively true that Kristi Noem had lost a large part of her appeal, especially among suburban and urban voters. And, just like that, she was off Trump's shortlist for a vice president pick, which meant we were back to an open race for the Republican vice president nominee. And it was embarrassing to watch some Republicans suck up to Trump to get picked.
You're the senator of his state, and she endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
After a few months, the reports were down to Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who used to be considered the future of the Republican Party before fizzling out in the 2016 primary, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, who ran a quite boring campaign for president in 2024, and would get some of that more boring establishment support, and Senator JD Vance, a populist a similar way to Trump, someone with less experience that could be more molded for the position. And Trump picked Vance. So let's look at the short-term and the long-term benefits of this decision. The long-term is a bit easier. It seems that Trump trusts JD Vance enough to be the leader of the party when he's gone. Trump is an old man. He's not going to be around forever, and if he wins, it's possible he could die during his term, considering the stresses the presidency puts on someone. Whoever he picks as vice president is going to have a strong claim to leadership of the Republican Party. And considering how JD Vance has behaved within his 2 years in the Senate, it seems that he is a Trump Republican through and through. Trump couldn't trust Burgum or Rubio with this responsibility. Burgum ran his campaign on more boring kitchen table issues like inflation and energy, and presents himself as more of a moderate, while Rubio was always more of an establishment darling. It's also important to note, both Rubio and Burgum ran for president at some point against Trump. They haven't demonstrated the absolute loyalty and commitment like Vance has. Of course, all of this requires Trump to actually win the election first. So how does Vance help him do that? Well, he doesn't do much. In exchange for ideological purity, Trump is losing an opportunity to extend an olive branch to groups he struggled with, in particular, suburban and moderate voters. Also, JD Vance is a noted electoral underperformer. In 2022, he won his campaign by about 6 percentage points. Meanwhile, the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, won re-election by about 25 points. Sure, the campaigns were different, but that's a pretty rough gap in electability. And Vance has a pretty extreme view on abortion access. He ran his 2022 campaign supporting a nationwide abortion ban, and believes that there shouldn't be exceptions for rape or incest. To be clear, Kristi Noem also had some fairly extreme views on abortion, but her being a woman would have made her comments a bit more palatable. Vance's past comments on abortion are 100% going to be brought up by the Biden campaign. And although I painted Vance as a Trump loyalist, it's important to note he wasn't always this way. In fact, in a private text message from 2016, he compared Trump to a certain German leader in the period of 1930s and 40s, and called him an idiot in October of 2016. And with his pick as vice president, media outlets have already begun to bring these past comments up, which he'll have to defend when he's out on the campaign trail. So, with all these short-term flaws, why did Trump even pick him? Well, the answer is right there in the announcement tweet. The announcement truth from Truth Social. Quote, JD Vance will be strongly focused on the people he fought so brilliantly for, the American workers and farmers in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Minnesota, and far beyond. Notice how there's no mention of Arizona, Georgia, or Nevada there. Trump is watching the polls in the forecast. He knows he struggles more in the Midwest than he does in the more southern and western swing states. He knows that a future Republican president needs to win these crucial Midwestern states. He's banking on JD Vance to campaign throughout the Midwest and turn out these rural voters and deliver those states. But Vance's views on abortion, his past as an electoral underperformer, and his former criticisms of Trump may suggest that any support he has from rural voters will be canceled out by suburban and urban voters. But a final question. Does this even really matter? Vice presidential picks seem like they matter less and less nowadays. And especially in an election where people already know the candidates and have formed opinions about them, it's hard to imagine a vice president pick having that much sway. At least for someone like Biden, there is a notion, especially among young people, that he's already on death's door anyway, so they might care a little bit about his VP pick. But with Trump, that idea is a lot less common. So maybe Trump picking a candidate based on loyalty and trust to lead the party in a way that he would approve of after he's gone might not have been a mistake. Or maybe I'm completely wrong and people will love/hate JD Vance and will completely change the results of the election. I don't know. This election is weird enough already. Personally, I think this will hurt Trump in the short term. We're already seeing some strong attack messages against Vance being put out, and it seems like there are a lot more of the neoconservative and moderate Republicans feeling abandoned by this pick, while the Trump loyalist types are upset about Vance's past attacks against Trump. But it seems unlikely how much these words will transfer into actual votes against Trump. At least Elon Musk is happy, though.